That moment was never planned, never written in the script, and never imagined by anyone, not even those who had been working for years in the unpredictable entertainment industry. The day began like any other, with crew members bustling about carrying cables, lights, and props, while the aroma of coffee from the corner table wafted throughout the studio. No one expected that this seemingly ordinary day would turn into a day that would cause a commotion on the entire set, make everyone stop working, and cause two hearts that had been quietly growing closer to finally explode in uncontrollable honesty. Ziyu, who was known for being quiet and always maintaining his professional demeanor, looked a little different since the morning. Some staff even whispered to each other, guessing what made him seem restless, but also sparkling at the same time. Every time Tian Xuning came close to check the script or just look at the set, Ziyu's gaze always followed him without him being able to control it. It wasn't a normal gaze. It wasn't the gaze of a coworker. There was something softer, deeper, and more dangerous there. Meanwhile, Tian Xuning seemed unaware of the nervousness he was creating, or perhaps he was pretending not to notice. He joked with the makeup artist, letting out a small laugh that made Ziyu stare from afar, thinking about how easily Tian Xuning made the room feel more alive just by being in it. A few days earlier, a small rumor had started among the crew. Not big rumors, just murmurs that were overheard when they saw how quickly Ziyu responded to every call from Tian Xuning, or how intently Tian Xuning paid attention to every little detail about Ziyu's role. But no one could confirm anything, until that day came, the day that brought together two lines that had been approaching each other without daring to meet. The scene they were shooting that day was a tense one. It wasn't a romantic scene, but one that required strong emotional closeness. The camera was placed very close, only a few inches from their faces. Every breath was visible. Every blink of the eye could take on new meaning. As the two stood so close, Ziyu could smell the soft scent of Tian Xuning's perfume, a warm scent that always made him feel as if he could forget the whole world just by standing near her. As soon as the director yelled "cut," the atmosphere changed. But it wasn't just the atmosphere after the scene that changed, but something inside Ziyu. All the breaths he had held, all the words he had kept to himself, all the feelings he had hidden behind his calm face finally reached their limit. He could no longer just watch and remain silent. He could no longer pretend that all the glances, smiles, and vibrations were just part of the job. The director gave a 15-minute break. The crew moved around, some heading for the snack table, some checking the monitor screens. But Ziyu walked in the opposite direction, towards Tian Xuning, who was standing alone, dabbing a little powder under her eyes while looking in the mirror. "Xuning, can we talk for a moment?" Ziyu's voice sounded steady at first, but a moment later, a slight tremor was impossible to hide. Tian Xuning turned her head and nodded slowly, without suspicion. They walked a little away from the crowd, to a corner of the set lit by dim lights, the warm glow reflecting softly on the edges of Tian Xuning's hair. That's where everything broke. Ziyu took a deep breath, then looked at Tian Xuning in a way he had never shown before. Not the gaze of a coworker, not the gaze of a friend. This was the gaze of someone who had kept something hidden for too long, something he knew could change everything. The word stuck for a moment, but Tian Xuning's clear eyes gave him a strength he didn't realize he had. "I like you, really like you, and not as a filming partner." The silence was long, very long. Even the sound of the studio fan could be heard. Tian Xuning didn't answer right away. He just stared at Ziyu, observing every detail of her expression, as if making sure he had really heard what she had just said. "Why are you saying this now?" His voice was soft, almost like a whisper afraid of disturbing the air around them. Ziyu could hardly breathe when he heard it. "Because I can't keep it to myself anymore," he replied honestly. Every day I see you, it feels like you're taking a little bit of me without realizing it. And if I keep quiet, I think I'll go crazy. Tian Xuning took a step closer. No fake smiles. No jokes. Just honesty that made Ziyu's heartbeat so fast it felt like it was about to burst. "I know," said Tian Xuning. "I've known all along. I was just waiting for you to say it." That feeling wasn't just a metaphor. Ziyu truly felt her whole body lose its balance. No words could describe the relief, fear, and pride that came all at once. Before Ziyu could answer, Tian Xuning reached out and touched her wrist. The touch was gentle, soft, but more than just a touch. It confirmed the feelings they had been hiding all this time. In the distance, several staff members who had accidentally witnessed the scene began signaling to each other. Some covered their mouths in shock. Some immediately ran away pretending to look for drinks so they wouldn't be caught eavesdropping, and some held back small screams that almost escaped their lips. It wasn't just because the confession was surprising, but because Tian Xuning's response was far more intense than they had expected. "If you think I don't feel the same way..." Tian Xuning paused for a moment, staring at Ziyu with an intensity that made the temperature around them rise a few degrees. "You're wrong." Their eyes met so closely. Too close. No one moved for a few seconds, as if time had stopped between the two faces. A small smile appeared on the corner of Tian Xuning's lips, a smile he had never shown to anyone. A smile that made Ziyu's body respond in a way he couldn't control, a mixture of nervousness, happiness, and something much hotter. And just as the tension began to ease, Tian Xuning playfully brushed a strand of Ziyu's hair that had fallen across his forehead, a simple gesture that was enough to make Ziyu blush to his ears. His revenge came when Ziyu adjusted Tian Xuning's collar, deliberately moving slowly, his fingers touching Tian Xuning's neck, making him gasp softly. The crew who saw the little scene from a distance almost dropped their clipboards. They didn't know whether to cheer or call the director to witness the free drama. Some even secretly recorded it with their eyes, not cameras, because this was clearly not something that should be leaked before its time. From that moment on, the atmosphere on set changed drastically. Every step the two actors took felt different. Every glance seemed to hold a meaning that only they understood. The director even joked in an amused tone, saying that if they wanted to make a new behind-the-scenes romance drama, it seemed like they wouldn't need a script, just record them as they were. And in the midst of it all, Ziyu and Tian Xuning continued their break, talking softly, laughing quietly, and occasionally nudging each other's shoulders or staring at each other longer than they should have. In the end, everything that happened that day was not a scene, not improvisation, and not part of the drama. It was their hearts finally choosing not to hide anymore. "You confessed his love," Tian Xuning responded, and the entire filming location became a witness to a moment so warm, so wild, so unexpected, that no one could ever forget it. The world may not know, but those who were in the studio that day knew that something had changed forever. Because when love is finally given space to grow, nothing can stop it.